UCLA might be the best team in LA right now. Yep, even over the Lakers. Oh, UCLA runs LA. They're the best team in LA. Better than the Lakers. Better than the Clippers.
Better than the Clippers?
That is, of course, according to Coach Corey Close, the UCLA
God.
coach. After the UCLA team beat on Northwestern 80-46, she was quoted saying, "We are arguably the top basketball team in LA right now, including the other colleges and also the Clippers, the Lakers. Like, this is really special. This is a really special team, and hoping that people are just going to pack it out." Now, there's two parts to this, but I'm going to ask you about the first part. Is UCLA better than all the teams in the land of LA?
Well, first of all, I'm Gregory Franklin.
Well, I said if we're going to go to that, I want you to answer that first, and we'll jump into intros.
Oh God. No, they're not. They happen. They're playing well. Okay, they're playing well, but they're not better than all the teams in LA.
Now, with that said, now I can do my intro before we go any further. This is Club Hoops Podcast, a podcast hosted by a father-daughter duo. I'm Natalie Franklin.
I'm Gregory Franklin yet again.
Superb. I think the second part here is she is, I don't want to call it begging, but she is imploring the fans of LA to come and watch a winning team. She's like, look, USC's not winning right now. Lakers have their stuff. Clippers have their stuff. We are undefeated in our conference. Pack it out. Come to these games. But I do think she feels like they're the best team in LA right now. They're the hottest ticket in La Lizzie right now.
I appreciate her position, her thinking, and these allegations of being the hottest team in LA. And that's the position she should have. I mean, really, she's done a great job with that team. She didn't inherit much. I mean, she's built that team. But to say that, we're the best team in LA, there's one important piece missing for me, and that is you haven't played the Lakers, you haven't played the Clippers. And while you beat USC, I'll give you that, but you haven't played those teams. So that declaration is a reach for me.
We can say they're the best women's basketball team in LA. That's fine. I'll even give them California right now.
You could say that.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
like that argument.
But you have to, as a player, you have to have some empirical evidence. As a coach, you should have some empirical evidence. I mean, play the Lakers. Do a scrimmage with the Lakers. If you think you're better than the Lakers, play them.
JJ Redick, set it up, scrimmage, UCLA against the Lakers. No dunking.
Play them. Play the Clippers.
No dunking. No fast breaks.
Yeah. I mean, they probably could beat Long Beach State, Cal State, Los Angeles, and those schools. But it's a reach to say that we're the best team in LA when you haven't played all the teams in LA.
We run.
So anyway, I do appreciate her position. She should have a a statement like that made, a bold statement like that made as well.
Right. And that's basically what this episode is about, right? We don't get to talk about UCLA often because I think they played a lot of marquee matchups really early in this season. And they've been doing very well this year. Like I said, they're undefeated in their conference play in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And we'll talk probably about it again. They've only lost to Texas, which, spanked. But other than that, they've just had a really great season. They're number 2. They've been pushed up to number 2 with that South Carolina loss to Oklahoma, excuse me, with that South Carolina loss to Oklahoma. So they are, which we said in another episode, that UCLA could easily move up as these things move around.
Indeed.
So what do you like about UCLA? Because I don't think there's a lot of things we don't like about them.
No, I actually,
yeah.
I actually, despite being the USC fan that I am, I actually like UCLA. I like the team. What I like the most about that team is that they appear to be balanced. And the coach does a great job of keeping them balanced. They have an inside game, they have an outside game, they have a good point guard, they have a player that keeps the transition going when it needs to be uh, on breaks and all of that. They have a great player that transferred in, Gianna Nepkins. So I like her uh, as well. So I think it's a very balanced team. What is interesting about that team, it's a Big Ten team. Let's keep that in mind too. You're playing in the Big Ten. What is interesting about that team is they didn't change much from last year when they went to the Final Four. So they have continuity.
Yeah.
So I really really like that part.
Yeah.
Um, Miss Jaquez, she's done a great job in playing as well this season. She wasn't bad last year either, by the way.
Right.
But I like the balance of the team. I like the continuity from last season to this season. I do like the coach. I mean, she's applying. Can you imagine what kind of pressure it is, on the players when you go out and make a statement that we're the best team in LA,
You're
in
like,
LA?
girl, shh, what are you doing?
That so, but I do like the fact that she's challenging them. You're undefeated in your division, but you have to keep working because I've told people, I've told the press, I've told the media, I've told other schools, you're the best team in LA.
Well, and I'm telling the fans to come out because you are the best team in
Oh,
LA.
absolutely.
Now,
Yeah,
they did stay consistent, but they did have 2 major transfers. They had London Jones, who transferred to USC, and Janiah Barker, who transferred and committed to Tennessee. Um, I think they had some other players hit the portal, but to your point, kind of the core group or the core offense, let me put it that way, they stayed, and I think that is what's been a key to their success. I mean, I think if we, I mean, Jesus, what's going on with me today? I named 2 major transfers, but they had like one, two, three, 4 other transfers. Elena Arnsalo, I'm butchering these names. Kendall Dudley, Avery Kane, Zanaya Saka Nujimin. So sorry if I'm killing these, but they did have a good amount of transfers, but they recovered. And
yeah,
they are thriving this season. I think London Jones, I don't know if I can't remember, but maybe she got in that portal before Juju went down, or maybe
yeah,
just
yeah,
there's just a long-term plan she had. So she has her struggles over there. Janiah Barker has been having a decent season with Tennessee. They've really turned it around in their conference play. But back to UCLA, I think the thing about to point out about their team, it's very senior heavy.
yeah,
So I don't want to look too far ahead. So while they're doing great this season, they've got some great seniors. They next season will be interesting for them.
yeah.
Um,
But while you say that, keep in mind that senior presence, that great senior, the heavy senior presence you mentioned, that's what's created, the culture of the team that we have today. You have significant veteran leadership. You have interior dominance with Lauren Betts, which what you had last year as well. You see balanced scoring, you see defensive discipline,
yeah,
and there's depth across all the positions.
right,
So that's kind of helped, and they're playing for the moment, right?
right.
That's kind of helped them this year.
I agree, but it's still a lot of seniors. What
A
are we
lot.
looking at? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 seniors, and then you have about one, two, 3 freshmen and 1 sophomore. So
Yeah,
like I said, I hate to jump ahead, but it makes you think like this is great for this year. What about next year? And I only bring that up just to bring up that there was a little news. They did lose one of their committed people to Texas. I of course cannot find it because that's how this show works. Cue everything up, can't find it. But Joyce, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her last name, but she
yeah.
decommitted last week from UCLA and is now committed to Texas. She's listed as a 6'1", 6'2" center. I don't think she'll be playing center for
Not
UCLA.
at that height. Not at that height.
Not at that
No.
height. But they did lose a recruit. I'm not even saying that's a big deal, but again, it's just speaking more to how are they going to build this team out for next year. Now, with that being said, coming back to the present, uh, let's talk about these players that you mentioned because these players are also great players that I think are WNBA ready. obviously starting with Lauren Betts. You and I went to the Ohio game when they played here in Sacramento, and we were sitting in the same row as a Minnesota Lynx coach. So she's being heavily scouted. And I believe Minnesota Lynx coach Cheryl was also in attendance at her game in Las Vegas.
Yep. Yep.
So she's being heavily recruited by them. And then, you have other players like Kiki Rice, Gabrielle, like you said, and Gianna, all really great players, and any WNBA team would be lucky to grab them up. We did see also the Chicago Sky coaching staff was at their game out in Evanston. So they're looking to, I mean, I don't want to be shady, but I'm sure they'd be
Be
grateful
shady.
for any opportunity. But the
Yeah. Be
Sky,
shady.
oh my God. Can you just imagine your heart sinking? And it's not because that team is terrible, right? It's terrible, but that organization is so poorly ran that, yeah, you'd be happy for the opportunity, but you'd be more than grateful that the Sky passed you. So who knows? But I think we can see Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice, Gabrielle, and Gianna in the draft getting picked up and playing because they're that, like you said, they're that good. um
They are. They are.
yeah, they're very WNBA ready. Each of these players are averaging 15 to 16 points this season. Just great pickups, even though there is a lot of seniors, and that makes me panic a bit for them. uh Anything else you'd want to add to individual plays? Go ahead before I cut you off.
Well, I'll add this. Individual play is important, but it's when those four come together as a team that you see their true value.
Mhm.
And that's what the coach has managed to do. She has these players, these in my opinion, good to great individual players, and she has them playing as one. For me, that's the most important thing, when you get into March and all of that, because if you go to the Final Four again and you face a team like UConn, you face a team like South Carolina, you're going to need options. Because as we know, those coaches, Gino and Don Staley and Kim Mulkey too, they take things away from their opponents. So you may have a great interior game with Lauren Betts. They will probably try and take that away, and probably those teams I mentioned, they will probably try to take that away, and they probably will take it away. So as far as the individuals go, if they find themselves on an island and having to go one on one with somebody, I have no doubt that they can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, where they're deadly is when they come together as a team.
Yeah.
That's why I think that UCLA has been so successful, because they're playing really like one unit.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Big Ten has its own level of physicality, much like the SEC. I'm not going to say that it's equal to or greater than, but UCLA has been somewhat physical when they've had to be. So yeah, I really like those individuals. I like those players as individuals, but I like them even more as one team.
Right. Because like you spoke to earlier, they have such depth. So if one player is off, someone else can kind of go
Yep.
off and make up for that. Like I really love point guards, so I really appreciate Kiki Rice. I think she's a
Mm-hmm.
solid PG,
Mm-hmm.
one of the best in the country. Can score, but also can facilitate. And I think to your point of the SEC, we have to go back and talk about Lauren Betts. Now, I personally think Lauren Betts will go WNBA draft top 5, maybe even top 3, right? But I still think she needs to be developed to play at the pro level because, with
Yeah.
SEC, she doesn't have all the best games when she has to play a team in the SEC, meaning when you have to play a team that's highly competitive at a high skill level, she tends to not show up. For example, when they got dog walked in that Texas game back in November, she had 8 points. The game we
Yeah.
attended against Oklahoma, 9 points. Now they lost against
Yeah.
Texas. They won against Oklahoma because, to your point, they had other players step up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So while I think Lauren Betts, again, we always say we respect 6'7". We respect anybody that's 6'7", but
Indeed.
she still needs to develop her game a little bit better. Her coach, Corey, did say that, uh, what's her name? Aaliyah Boston did take her under her wing a bit when they had that Team USA training camp last month. Now, I don't know if Lauren Betts is interested in throwing elbows. So maybe that's what she learned from Aaliyah. Maybe she learned how to chicken wing somebody. Maybe Aaliyah's
Okay,
like, look, you need to
okay,
toughen up out here, right?
okay. All right,
Well,
all
because
right.
also, I think back to her coach, Corey has also made some complaints that she feels like teams are getting away with being too physical with Lauren. Like she thinks even before she gets touches, when she's trying to establish her position, she's getting shoved more than an average player or maybe a little jersey pull. Now, I personally think the refs let things go when a person is 6'7" and maybe someone that's
That's right.
5'11" is guarding you.
Yep,
So
that's
in
right.
that sense, you do have to toughen up. And that's why I would say maybe Aaliyah Boston gave her some points on that. Maybe bring her elbow out, put a forearm in the chest, right? Create some space. This is all fun shade. Like, please. Um, but I that's my only, if I'd say, concern as far as Lauren Betts goes when she does move on from college. It's she's gonna have to still work on developing herself and be ready to play with grown women in a grown women game.
Yeah, I think every big that first year in the WNBA has had to realize that they're in an environment where the interior game is played very very different than college.
Yeah,
Actually, it definitely is more physical. You definitely have to work harder to get to your spot. If you look at Aaliyah Boston, Asia Wilson, look at Camila Cardoza when she first came in. I mean, her first year, and she's 6'7". She didn't look that great as well. So that realization, I think a team that drafts a Lauren Betts, they understand that. That you're not going to be the college player or better than the college player that you were in the WNBA. We know that it's going to take some time. I think where Lauren Betts may have somewhat of an advantage if she's drafted by the right team is the offense that UCLA runs is very if that matches up with that team that drafts her. Let me say that
right.
matches up either at 100%, 80%, 50% or whatever, she may have some advantage because she plays well in that UCLA system. And
Yep.
then that UCLA system, which is again very balanced, they move the ball around. They play great team defense. If she can get into a system that mirrors what's going on at UCLA, I see her development in the WNBA going a lot better and a lot quicker. So I'll give her that. I think where she thrives, though, where she will thrive is if she goes to a team that has a very active and productive point guard. Because if that point guard can get the ball to her in her spots and she's able, to develop that one or two moves that guarantees her a basket or a foul, trip to the foul line, then I think that helps. So I say that to say that the team that drafts her at a minimum, should have a point guard that understands, how to feed the big person and also understands tempo. I think Lauren can actually run the floor a bit as well. So it just depends on who that team is that drafts her.
Right. And right now, I think Minnesota might be the one drafting her because they have the number 2 pick. I can't see them letting 6'7" drop to
No,
Seattle. Especially,
no,
Seattle already has Dominique Malonga. Like, you don't want to give them the advantage even more.
no.
But with that being said, all those free agencies, we don't even know who's going to be in Minnesota running the point.
That's right.
Obviously, if it was Dallas, I'd easily say, oh, yeah, you'll have Paige Becker. So this will be great for you. But it's just so much uncertainty. If there's even going to be a season, CBA talks have completely hushed. I don't even know what's going on with that. But let's just stay hopeful and say there is a season. I think even if she goes to number 2 and she's coached by a great coach in Cheryl, so that will be great for her. If Nafisa's there, even better, right?
Yep,
Um,
yep, yep,
I think she'll be fine, but these are just, we got things we had to bring up a bit. And I mostly bring
yeah.
that up too is just because when we get to March and you start moving along in the tournaments and whatnots, and then you finally get back to a Texas and you have to play a UConn or you have to play South Carolina or a Vanderbilt, the tougher teams. That's when we're really going to see, what Lauren Betts is made of, you know what I mean? Or what Kiki Rice is made, or what the team as a whole is made of. So I think they're The tournament play will be interesting. We're chugging through January. We're gonna get through February, but that tournament play will be freaking lit. With that being said, though, they do have two biggish games coming up. They have to play the Hawkeyes and then they play the Wolverines. The Hawkeyes, I think they can handle them. Technically, they're what are they, number 10 right now because everything got moved around,
Moved around, correct?
which fine, even though they got dragged by Iowa State. See, the rankings to me mean little to nothing because I'm like, Iowa's top 10?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
All right, sure.
but see again, it's the Big
Yeah,
Ten. In the Big Ten, you're gonna have teams that gonna but you have quite a few teams in the Big Ten that's ranked.
yeah,
So in the Big Ten, strength of schedule, if you get back to strength of schedule,
yeah,
it's not like what it is in SEC. So and we know that. Everyone knows that.
yeah.
So yeah, Iowa is like their number one contender for the Big Ten title. But when you show up in that in the tournament, or show up in the Final Four and all of that, it's going to be a test to see what you're made of.
Yeah.
It's going to
But
be a big test.
yeah, so when they play Iowa, I mean, the big matchup might be Hannah Stolke against Lauren Betts or maybe Chit Chat against Kiki Rice. I completely expect UCLA to eat them up. Uh, I just don't see them competing with them. I do see moving to Michigan. I feel like that was going to be a better game because Michigan, as we've talked about all season, superb defense, just
Michigan,
insane
yeah,
defense.
yeah. Michigan will definitely test them, but I don't want to go on a limb too quickly. I don't see Michigan beating
Oh no,
UCLA.
I didn't say that. I said it would be a
Okay.
good game. Good that will be more of a competition. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
Michigan will because again, another thing Michigan's been having a problem with is consistency.
yeah,
Like everyone wants to talk about that UConn game where they always won, or almost won, but they also win the double overtime with Oregon and got spanked by Washington State. So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they've become pretty as good as I think they are, they've become pretty unpredictable. I
yeah.
can't rely on them anymore and say, "Oh, they're gonna just kill it or they're gonna be doing so well." It's really like, well, let's see what they've got. But I believe to their credit or to in their quote unquote defense, I believe they're a very young team compared to what you spoke on about how this team at UCLA is so senior heavy, veteran heavy,
Yep.
been here,
Yep.
done that heavy. This team, the Michigan leans to the younger side. I also
They do.
don't see anybody stopping Lauren Betts. Like their tallest player is 6'3".
Yeah. Yeah.
They might
Yeah.
have some trouble there on the
Yeah.
boards. They might have some trouble even just guarding her. They might be, but also it's not impossible. You could throw a double team at her, spread the floor. I'm sure their coach is strategizing, watching other game, watching the Texas game, see what they did. But I agree with you. Do I think Michigan can win? But I think they'll be able to compete and maybe make it a game and surprise all of us. Maybe they could win. I don't think you will, but I'm not counting them out. Maybe that's how I'm trying to
No.
say it.
And Michigan, although they haven't, really they've shown it in spots. I think their defense is pretty good.
But
And
we
and
talk
so
about their
what
defense all the time.
yeah, so what that tells me is that their coaching staff will game plan around a Lauren Betts, around her interior play, and they'll force the other folks to have a game. They'll force Kiki to have a game. They'll force Hawkins to have a game. So I'm not counting Michigan out either. It's just a huge hill to climb when
It
you
is.
when you're going to play UCLA.
Because even Michigan, they have a great press, but I mean, you've got a ball handler in Kiki, you got Jaquez, and again, we cannot leave out Gianna, who's the shooter, who you
Yeah,
now have to account for, even if you do double Lauren. That's the good thing about this team and good thing about Lauren Betts, she gets a lot of attention and
a lot of attention.
draws players to her and leaves that perimeter open. That's why the game we watched, Oklahoma, that was pretty much the key to their success. They got the
Yeah.
perimeter open and they were
Yep.
knocking down shots.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. And didn't need Lauren to score points.
they
That's why she
didn't.
ended up
She
with
only
9.
scored 9, and they
Yeah.
still kinda whooped on Oklahoma. So, I think UCLA has a great I've said it all season, has a great team. It'd be interesting to see how far they go in the tournament when we do get to March. I don't see anyone beating them In the rest of this season. I think they'll be ending the season undefeated in their conference play, and they probably won't lose another game. But I just feel like they I don't want to say swept under the rug. They don't get mentioned in a lot of conversations. Do you agree
Well,
with that?
no, well, I'm getting ready to say, I think part of it is, the SEC captures all the attention.
Yeah,
That's one big piece. Now that they're number two, I would be interested to see if they get attention. The other, because of their ranking, but the other thing too, those personalities at 1, 3, and 4 from the coach from the bench. So you have Gino in number one. He's a personality. Media wants to talk to him. You have Dawn, personality. Media wants to talk to her. You have Kim Mulkey, personality. Media wants to talk to her. UCLA, because I don't know if the coach, besides that bold statement she made, I don't know if the coach is that type of a personality that the media would gravitate to. Okay, so hey, what did you think, or what did you do, and how did you lose, and then that becomes front page, above the fold kind of stuff for those of us who still read a newspaper, right? The boomer tape.
right,
Yeah, I don't know if it becomes that kind of thing, but I just think that now that they're number two, they should be able to rattle some cages in the media and say, hey, look, we're here.
right,
We're one step from number one.
right.
We have probably, arguably, the number one draft choice in the WNBA draft this upcoming season.
Very
And
arguable.
they should, arguably, yeah,
Yeah.
they should stand on that. So yeah, I totally agree. They don't get that kind of attention, but they're number two now. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I think earlier in their season they got some good attention because they ranked Lauren Betts at number 3, so that was kind of exciting. And then the season went on, and that ranking changed, rightfully so. And Lauren Betts, still all the credit, 6'7". She is the star player. The system runs through her. Kiki Rice is
Yeah,
the engine. It runs through Lauren Betts, but
right.
she struggled against in post scoring against top competitions and size this season, right? Like I said, when the competition is equal to or maybe a little bit higher, she doesn't really perform that well. Like a Twitter stat I found, she's 42% on post ups versus P4 teams, and she's 17 for 42, and then she's 73% versus mid to low majors. So, and you're 24 for 33. So those stats tell us when you got to face some real competition, when someone's really in your, as you like to say, in your jersey, when someone's
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
level, you're not really
yeah,
showing up. Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's easy to drop 50 on Sac City College. They want to see that number, like you said, in the SEC or against an elite team. And I think that might have pulled the media attention away from UCLA, is Lauren lack of showing up and playing like the number 3 or number 2 player in the country. No
Now,
shade.
why is Sac City in
It's like going Sac it's like going City College, next to like San Francisco City
Why
College.
you put them in it? No, no, I agree. Those are real stats, and I would expect that you're not, if you're challenged, they're going to make it difficult for you. Okay, that's what top teams do.
Yeah.
Like you said, they double you in the post, or better yet, they ball deny you
Smack you
on
around
the
a bit.
perimeter. Yeah, yeah, they do.
Warm sugar.
They don't allow you to do anything, in the paint or even mid range to a certain extent. They push you out. They push you
Yes,
out.
yes.
So that part I'm not, that part I get, and I'm not necessarily worried about that, because when you get to tournament play, when you get to tournament play, by then you have enough film on teams you're going to be playing to think, just like teams are going to game plan, up for Lauren, like ball denial and all those things. I suspect their coach, and I really have a lot of faith in her. I suspect their coach to game plan on other teams and take into account what's going to happen, when they do double Lauren, when they do deny the ball, and that is, we're going to have plays and sets, for Kiki and Huckes. We're also going to have, maybe we change the tempo of the game, maybe we slow it down or speed it up. So right now during the season, I am not that if I'm coaching, that would not be a huge concern because all I have to do now is get to the tournament, and that means I need to win the Big Ten. UCLA is going to win the Big Ten,
Right.
and now my focus is going to be on tournament play.
Right. But my point was why the media lost interest. And that is why, because the star player doesn't play like the star player when we have
Okay,
highly
I,
competitive games. That's what
I,
I'm saying. All the stuff you're saying is true. But when we go to media kind of tagging along to the more
that's true. That's true.
I don't want to call them salacious. What's the word? The more sensational stories we've had in
Sensational.
college,
Yeah.
with the Don Staley, the Gino, the Kim Mulkey outfits of it all, the Malaysia,
Yep. Yep.
the Flower, like, yeah, they are a very straight up, no drama that we can see team, right?
Yeah.
Fundamentals, we just come out and play. Nothing special and flashy is going on over here. And we don't. That's why the media is like, all right, well, we'll see you in the tournament.
Yeah. And my position on the media, right? The media, they create a lot of problems, not just for teams, but for players. And this is all media created, stuff.
Yeah,
So I'm not, if I'm UCLA, I am not that concerned, but
of
we'll
course.
see.
Of course. Yeah, I'm sure the alumni are still donating. Coach Corey's point is show up to the games because we're better than the Lakers. LeBron, who? Luca? You want to see Luca and not Lauren Betts? Pshaw. Pshaw. Anyway, please like, subscribe, and comment. What do you think about UCLA? Are they going far this year in the tournament? Or is it a wrap once they hit an actual team that can hoop? What do you think about Lauren Betts? How is she going to fare in the WNBA? How is she going to fare in the tournament? Anything you want to say about UCLA? We'd love to hear it. Before we get up out of here, anything else you'd like to add or
No,
say?
just well, no, UCLA, great team. I think they're prepared, right now today to get into the tournament. And I actually, like I said, I see them winning the Big Ten.
Also, quick apology. We usually like to do an episode at least every Monday, but we were out of town for a family member's birthday. Full disclosure, it was my dad's wife, my mother. We were in Las Vegas. As you know, you got to recover from Las Vegas. You can't just jump right back into a podcast. So thank you for your patience. Anyway, like I said, like, subscribe, share, and we'll talk to you guys all later. Go Bruins! Is that what they say?
I hope.
Bye.
They do say that.
Okay.
They do.
All right. Bye.